Well, hello guys, I'm back. This is going to be kind of well, we're going to answer some comments and do some stuff I meant to do, or at least one item or two on the last video, and I forgot to get to it. And I don't know, discuss some other things. Right off the bat, the one thing I want to do is I really appreciate all the comments I got, and one of the deals that I talked about was about the putting the writers up on my Google Drive. I have decided against that for various reasons, but for one thing, it would probably take quite a while to get it up there. It's a slow process of uploading. It's a large file. The second thing is, as pointed out, and is true, the person I got it from did take a lot of time and a lot of effort to make the scans of it and then turn around and put it on DVD and stuff, and I really don't want to take away from the work. One of the big things was I was kind of hoping on anyway was that maybe somebody out there might have had something similar, and it turns out they did. I don't think the set that I got came from the same person who they got theirs from, but it doesn't matter. They are out there on eBay. You can pick them up. I'm thinking it's been at least 4, maybe 5 years ago, and when I got mine, I know it's not the same one that, but I was thinking that it was like $9 in pre-shipping. I may be wrong on that price. I know, Art, you said that you got yours from KE3GK. If you could make a comment or something on there about how much, if you don't mind, roughly what the price was, so people could and if you got it off eBay or where you got it from, because 9, 10, 12 bucks is pretty reasonable, even 20 bucks for these scans. I know mine didn't come from there. I only got like 2 DVDs. One contained the writers, the other one contained Beatman's, and that was all I got. And you're saying yours is a 4 DVD set. Mine was only 2. And I know that I don't remember the person, but I do know that they didn't have any numbers in their name, at least not on eBay anyway. Anyway, so I wanted to make sure I answered that. Try to keep this reasonably short. Anyway, so I'm not going to put them up. What I could do if push came to shove, if you're someone out there and you either can't find on Nostalgia Air or some other place, or what you do get is really bad and you can't really make sense of it, heads or tails of it, because some of the scans on Nostalgia Air is really bad. Just let me know, and I can make a copy of just one and send it to you, the schematic you need and service information out of this. What I have to do is there's no way I can take one, like one schematic out of the whole thing, except by printing. Excuse me. I got to print it and then scan it and then send it. But I can do that if to help out anybody who might need anything. Now on that front, although there is some stuff probably by the end of the week, I don't know how quick I can get to it, but there are some stuff I want to put on my Google Drive that did come out of, this came out of Sam's, and they're my Sam's, the ones I had bought years ago. So A couple things real quick, but there's a whole bunch of them. They're right here. There's several pages, so that's how come it'll probably take me a while to put them on. These are not schematics. What these are is service information and stuff that came out of the first and second volumes, books. And but of some interest here, one, it talks about on this one here, it talks about shortwave interference and some possible ways of possibly helping and fixing that, especially dealing with AC/DC receivers with like a 12SQ7 as being the detector in First Audio, which most of them have. And it talks about how you might be able to, some fixes to circuit changes to help that out. Let's see. Don't think there's much else on that one. Yeah, it does have a little information about lubricating push button and band switches. This one here gives you it's about 3 or 4 paragraphs information about unknown IF frequencies. You know, either you don't have a schematic or you have a schematic and maybe you don't have it on there. There's whatever reasons you don't know what the actual IF frequency is, and it talks about how you could actually find it for the radio you're working on. And then the interesting one really is the improved alignment procedure. See, when you're working with some of these radios, and the radio I've been working on here that I've been doing, it's one of those. Some radios will have on the broadcast band anyway, will have a low frequency pattern that needs to be adjusted. You know, you adjust your high frequency end, you know, around 1500, and you adjust it to get get your oscillator set with the dial so everything's tracking right. But then you have another oscillator adjustment for the low end of the dial, you know, around 600 kilocycles, and most of the time the instructions on that is for you to rock the dial as you're adjusting that. You know, you turn it a little bit off from 600 and adjust, get a peak, bring it back closer the other way towards 600, and adjust again, get another peak. You keep doing that until you get the maximum, get it peaked out pretty good right on 600. But you got to rock the dial, and it takes a little time to do that. Well, there was somebody who actually found information and from a company that is the name of the company was Old Silver Marshall Incorporated, which and you got to realize this is I can't show it, but anyway, it's October 18th, 1946, and they're saying Old Silver Manufacturing Incorporated, now defunct for many years. But this is what they did. They developed this means of doing that low end frequency adjustment, which actually they claimed, and they've proven in here, they talk about how they've proven it does work better, but it makes it more sensitive, and it's much more accurate way of doing it through this procedure than the rocking procedure. But they had developed on their radios of doing it, and I'll scan this stuff in. You can read through it, but it basically, what they're doing is they're actually going to disconnect the oscillator from the tuning condenser that's on the radio, hook it to a separate variable condenser, and they give the value that is a good value to use, from 365 to 500 picofarad. And then the basic procedure is to set the dial to 600, set your generator to 600, and you basically tune in. Well, let's see. Connect the signal generator to antenna and binding post. Set it to 600. Turn the receiver on and tune in the signal by adjusting the external variable condenser. Turn the knob on the receiver and determine the point of maximum response of the antenna and RF sections. Set the dial of the receiver to at that position and let it alone. And basically, once you get the signal generator set and that set, you leave those dials alone, and then you reconnect the oscillator back up, and then make that final adjustment to bring it in, and to bring it in to the maximum output. And at that point, it is truly fully lined properly at 600. So anyway, I'll scan that in. There's like 8 steps and stuff. And the unknown IF frequencies. They also, after that, they talk about oscillator coil matching. They talk about which I've never talked about, but the 3 basic areas that the oscillator, when it's properly tuned and the radio's properly aligned, everything's aligned properly, the local oscillator and the RF, or the antenna section, they don't always perfectly track all the way through, but there are 3 frequencies that they should be right on the money. And the 3 points are roughly around 1400 kilocycles, 600 kilocycles. That's why you generally have those 2 you adjust. The third one is 1000 kilocycles. All 3 points should be pretty much accurate. But I'll scan those in, and like I say, I'll get those in. Then there's some other information. There's stuff about RMA company codes as of 1946, and some other stuff. So it might be of interest to anybody, and you can look through that stuff. But it'll be probably about the end of the week before I get that in there. Something I found rather interesting was, again, October 4th, 1946, they have a deal in here, the letter K, and they talked about quite a few of their subscribers had written in and asking why they're using the symbol or letter K in their resistance charts and schematics indicating 1,000 ohms, thousands of ohms. And they talk about, in the metric that 1,000 is kilo, and such as kilowatt, kilocycle, kilogram, kilometer, and so forth, and that the correct term for 1,000 ohms would be kiloohms, and and how using it instead of M, which could be sometimes misinterpreted as being mega ohms instead of 1,000. They thought it was better to use the K instead of M, and they indicate that while the letter M indicates 1,000 in Roman numerals, it's also the initial of a million, or meg. So, that I just thought that was kind of interesting. So now on to other stuff. I'm glad I helped you out there, Tom, on your helping understand the AGC circuit or AVC circuit and the RC circuit filters, that time constants that's in there, and how it's producing the bias voltage and everything. And thanks to all of you for your comments. Let's see. I think that's the main points on that. Now, something I'm going to do here, yeah, I can do. Alright, we're going to, of course, anytime I try to stage something up, it probably never works out. Oh, one more thing. A couple things. that I want to rant, well, not really rant on, but for one is troubleshooting radio. Not really the process, but I want to emphasize one point, that there is nothing, absolutely nothing in a radio that cannot go bad. I don't care what kind of capacitor it is. I don't care what kind of resistor it is. I don't care who manufactured the tube. I don't care what kind of tube sockets or anything else. Everything and anything in a radio can go bad. It's all man-made, and anything that we make never lasts forever and can go bad. So I want to emphasize that. Now, I'm not saying that you should replace everything on your first go through. You know, just do the standard restoration, replacing the paper caps and the electrolytics, any out of tolerance resistors. You know, check the tubes, and of course check, you know, everything else like controls and coils and transformers. You know, make sure they're good. You know, and clean your controls. You know, your standard stuff. But if you get that all done and the radio's giving you troubles, then go through your troubleshooting to isolate it down, hopefully to a circuit, a stage, and then start looking at the components in that stage. And when I say start looking, you know, first look at anything that's left in there that seemed to test good to start with, that you left in there because it did test good. You know, they can now be suspect. You know, maybe after powering it up, it might have caused the resistor to give up the ghost that was checking good, or anything else. Now, when you have gotten into that circuit and you cannot find anything else, and maybe you replaced everything in that circuit, I have an ICO 950B capacitor tester. I don't have that there, and I didn't buy that to test paper caps. I mean, it's kind of fun to do, but I already know they're going to be bad, and if they're not, they're going to be coming. They will eventually go bad. That's the reason why I got it. I got it for this, the new capacitors. And the reason I say that, now I'm not saying that new components, I've ran into a lot of them that were bad, no. And I don't even have a number for you. It's a rarity, and I don't care what brand they are. I've had any one of the different brands, from generic to name brands, I have found bad, brand new, modern day caps that tested bad. But it's a rarity. I admit that. But it is something to think about. I also got it for the not so often going bad caps that you may leave in there, like ceramics. Ceramic caps, no matter what type they are, can go bad. So when you can't find anything else wrong and there's a ceramic cap sitting there, it might be worth pulling one in and testing it. So, but that's what the capacitor testers are. It's not for the caps that I already know I'm going to replace and it's going to go bad. It's for the ones that don't normally go bad, don't normally have problems with, that now I've got something that's not working and I need to find out why. But the point I wanted to get at is, don't ever sit there and think, well, okay, I replaced everything and, you know, I'm supposed to replace, and, you know, there's a couple things in there that, you know, like a ceramic cap, well, they say it never goes bad, so it can't be that. Always be ready for anything. So I wanted to make that point. Another thing is, I'll show you a little tool that has nothing to do, well, it does have in a way to do with radios. You know, there's been a lot of discussion about on AC/DC sets. Those are the radios that don't have transformers. And I'm not going to get everything done today, I can see that. But on those radios like that don't have a transformer or anything, there's been a lot of talk about, should I put a polarized plug on it or not? Now that's up to you if you want to. And for radios, it's for your own usage. You know, do what you want to do. I mean, this is your radio. You're collecting it. You're doing whatever. That's fine. You know, but something I want to point out that I don't think anybody thinks about, and that is, you're making an assumption by putting that polarized plug on that the outlet that it's hooked to is correct, was wired correct, the fuse box, breaker box is wired correct, everything's wired correct. That's not a good assumption to make. I have been in houses that had some of the oldest style wiring in them. They've never been rewired. And the oldest style is what they call knob and tube wiring. The knobs are insulators that are nailed down. The tubes are ceramic tubes where they would drill holes through studs or joists or anything. They'd stick the tube in there, and that way they could run the wire through it and it would protect the wire. But for one thing, they were all the same color wires, general rule, because most electricians back in the day only bought one color. There was a white, a neutral wire, but it only had a trace on it. It was black with a white tracing on it, which even with age would disappear. They were cloth wire. But I've been in houses where they had that, so not only you may not know which one is which is neutral and which is hot in an outlet, but I've seen them replace all the outlets in the house so that they could get their 3-prong outlet, so that they didn't have to mess with anything. They could just plug in whatever they needed to. They didn't rewire the house. They just changed the plugs. So, and even if they could tell the difference between, you know, white and black, neutral and hot, they probably wouldn't have cared one way or another which way they hooked it up. There is a tool to not only check if it's wired correctly, but also to check that all the existing wiring should be there. In other words, ground's there, neutral's there, everything's there, and it's wired properly. And that's this little tool right here. That's all it is. Just plugs in. This one's made by Gardner Bender. You can pick these up at home improvement stores, any place that sells electrical, you know, for housing electrical. And what this does, hopefully you can see that, and it would be nice if I turn it around. But we got 3, and yeah, they're neon lights. You got 2 amber and red, and it tells you what you'll get depending on what the system, you know. If you get both ambers on, then it's wired correctly and everything's there. If you get a red and amber, hot and neutral's reverse. You get a red and this other amber, hot and ground's reverse. If there's no hot, there's nothing that's going to power it, so no lights come on. If you get the farthest amber over here, you get open neutral. If the center amber comes on, it's open ground. And see if I can see. That's what it does. Yeah, that's it. Pull my plug off. That's what it how it works. But the thing was I wanted to talk about that. But this way you know the wiring, at least in your home's correct. And so then if you did put a polarized plug on, you plug it in there, the neutral is going to neutral, you know, going to where you hooked it up in the radio. That'll be the neutral. And hot's going where it needs to go. So that the radio is as safe as it's going to get. It's just something I wanted to point out, and I don't remember. I bought this years ago. I don't think they're that. They're probably like $10, something like that. I don't know for sure. I meant to look it up, but I haven't. There is another style. Well, not so much. Well, yeah, it is another style. It does the same thing as this, but it has a plus to it. There's one, and I've got one somewhere, and I can't find it. It might have been something that I loaned out, and it never made it back. I have a bad habit sometimes when I'll loan something out, and then I forget who I loaned it out to, and if they don't bring it back, well, it's gone. Anyway, the other one's for checking GFIs. Well, proper name is ground fault circuit interrupters, so it's GFCI. But that's the nice, neat little plug you might see in your bathroom or something. It's got two little switches on it, push button things on there that, it might pop and you have to push it back in. But I have one of these, or did have, that also, it would do the same thing as this does. It'll test, if the circuit's wired right, but it also would test the GFI to make sure it's operating properly. You could give it the rated loading that it needs, and it would click it off. So pop it if it's working right and everything's hooked up right, and so forth. So, and those are more expensive. I think probably about $40 or something. But these, are really nice. Just nothing else. It also will let you know if your house was done that way or something else, or if everything is correct. So I meant to. I'll do that on the next time around. Show how you can, because someone made a comment asking about it. If I could do one, getting the guts out of this and cleaning it up, and then how to put a new cap in there. So thanks again, everybody, for your comments. I'll try to actually get on here and actually type in some answers, or at least just acknowledge. I have read your comments and everything. It's just been real busy here lately, and that's no excuse. But I really don't have an answer. I'm just sorry. I haven't got back to you guys, and I want to welcome my new subscribers too, and also tell you that we're going to do something kind of special. I'm coming up on 100 videos, so I'm at like 83, I think now, or this will be 83, or 84. So I haven't figured out exactly what yet for sure, but we're going to do something different. So anyway, this is really ran long. I talked too much. So I'll be seeing you on the next video, and thanks for watching. Thanks again for your comments. You guys are really kind, and I really appreciate it. And you make it worth the while. The whole reason I do this. So I will see you in the next video.